AI, it's the big thing. It's poised to take over every aspect of our life. That's how you get Skynet, by the way. But even Bill Gates says that teachers and doctors will be replaced by AI and we won't need humans for most things. But can AI actually replace good crochet pattern creators? Well, I am here to give it a test to see if that's possible. So I decided to try 3 different AI platforms: Microsoft's Copilot, Google's Gemini, and OpenAI's ChatGPT, which I feel is the gold standard of AI platforms. Okay, so I put the same prompt into all 3 platforms so that it would be completely across the board. Nothing changed, no different working for this one, no working for that one. And this is the the pattern that it initially spit out. So I told it, I gave it a role to play, which was expert amigurumi pattern creator. And I told it that it had to have a few things. I wanted it to either have a 4.5 or 5 millimeter hook, 4 worsted weight yarn, in the colors tan and white and pink if it wanted to make accents for toes and for interior ear colors, and that it was to be a seated corgi for like a desk or something. And let me see, what else did I have it to do? Yeah, and then it was going to have, it was just going to be a seated corgi. Very simple prompt, and it had to use U.S. crochet terms. I put it in, and each one of them spit out a different pattern. After I finished the pattern, then I asked it to create a visual version, an image based on that pattern of what the finished piece would look like. And each one of them did that as well. All right, so for this experiment, I also am keeping the same kind of yarn for each of the patterns, so there'll be no variations, and I will use the same hook. Okay. I'm going to use this 4.5 or 4.5 millimeter or number 7 crochet hook. I'm going to use that. I've got Sun Gold in Hobby Lobby. I love this yarn, and I have white also in the same brand, and then the Mini Maker pink. I'm not sure how it will incorporate the pink for the toes and interior of the ears. If it will do that, if it has. So that's where we're starting from. So let's get making our AI corgis. So for AI or for Copilot, this is the pattern it gave me. I liked it's well formatted. It looks pretty nice. So the format was nice on it, and I think it looks like it would be easy to follow along. I did try to do a copy and paste into a document, and it brought the formatting with it. So I'm just, for the sake of this, I'm just going to do a screen cap and then start with what it says, or just do a screen cap and run through it rather than stay on the internet. So the first one is Copilot. Let's get started with the AI generated corgi patterns. So we're going to center pull here. Let's just start with a magic ring. Decided to do a 4.57 crochet hook because I'm using my 5 for that hexagon cardigan, but I also am really loving this particular hook right at the moment. It's from Hobby Lobby. It's the ergonomic ones that they sell. I'm loving this. I've been making a lot of things with it, so I'm decided to keep going with it. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so we got 6 for our magic ring. What do we do next? So it looks pretty standard. Actually, it says start with white yarn. I need to read the instructions. So let's start over. We're going to start with the white yarn. So we start with the white in the magic ring. The audio may sound a little different because I had to charge my phone, and that's usually where I keep my Bluetooth microphone. So I am at right now starting the body. Now on the pattern itself, it does not say what color. I'm assuming that it's continuing with tan because it's corgis and the body should be tan at this point. And I'm really having a love-hate relationship with this yarn. I'm enjoying the yarn, the texture, but this center pull is being a pain in the butt. All right, so the body looks like it's going to be not much bigger than the head. So we'll see how this goes. So it's standard magic ring. It's not, again, not saying what color, so I'm assuming the main corgi color is going to be the tan. One thing I noticed about this is the writing of it is well written in formatting. So it says it's increased stitch, single crochet. It's well written in that sense. It's I would say it's well written. Now, is it well written enough to create an item that's going to be nice? We'll see. But as for its format, I like looks like pretty much any standard pattern that you would see that you would purchase or find on the internet for free. So that's a plus. And I'm working on the pilot. So that's, or Copilot, excuse me. Now, I have not stuffed the eyes, or I'm still debating on the eyes. I do not have a nose, a safety nose, small enough for this particular critter, so I'm not going to do the safety nose. I'm probably going to end up embroidering the nose. So that's where I am with that. So this one actually gives you, I didn't notice on the other one, but it does tell you the size of safety eyes and size of safety nose, and it also recommends stitch markers. And so I don't remember if the other one did that or not. So let's get started on the, now this one's got it a little different. This has got a base, a bottom, and then it's got a body and a head. It has the ears, tail, paws, and then so we'll see how this one turns out. It also starts with a magic ring. I noticed the other one did as well. So it seems like it does seem to pick up on the magic ring rather than the traditional way to crochet in the round. So that's interesting that it also uses the magic ring, because I didn't tell it. I just told it to make the pattern. So either it's standard in amigurumi making, or it's something that it assumes you know how to do. It does not give you the option. So we start with 6 in the magic ring, much like the other one did. The other one, basically everything except for the tail started with 6 in a magic ring. Everything else, the tail was a 4. So looking at the stitch count on this one, I'm going to tell you right now. I can tell. Oh, wait a minute. I'm supposed to start with white. I did it again. But looking at the stitch count on this one, I think it's going to be a lot larger. I will tell you that. That's about all I'm going to tell you about this one. It's what it causes the base. And as you can tell from the other one, this is much larger. This is going to be much larger than the other one. So now I need to switch to tan. Excuse me. I need to switch to tan and make the rest of the body. Here for a minute to let you know that I could not find, or I failed to do the footage for me crocheting the ChatGPT Corgi. This is a photo of what it generated for it to supposedly it looked like. And but I have to say, it was just like the rest of them. It started with a magic ring, and it was fairly straightforward in that sense. So stay tuned, and you can see what this one turned out to look like, as well as the other ones. Okay, up first is Microsoft's version of AI Copilot. So after I ran the pattern, I checked the pattern and I said, based on the pattern that you've created, give me an image of what this is going to look like so that the creator, the crocheter, will know what the finished object item will look like. So that is the finished item. I will put on the screen here. Okay, so that is what it claims that this pattern will create. This, I'm not sure that Copilot really knows what a corgi looks like, or in fact even what a dog looks like, because this is the item, this is the finished product based on the pattern that it gave me. The head is larger than the body. I asked it to be able to be seated, it could be seated. I don't know why the tail was white and that long. I it didn't tell me on here where to put the eyes. It didn't tell me where to place the arms or the tail or the legs. So this was where I put it. It does not set very well just because of the nature of how it's made. So that is what it came up with. That was just straight from that prompt. No tweaking, nothing, just straight out of that prompt. And as you can see from the image that it created, those are way, way off. Okay, so we'll let him set right here with Craig. So the next one is Google's entry into AI. It's called Gemini. And this is the image that, again, I asked it to create an image based on the pattern. And this is what it told me the pattern was going to look like. All right. When I looked at this one, I was intrigued. I thought maybe it might be a potential for the top one. I looked at the pattern. It looked like it had all the standard things that that you would have in amigurumi. This is what I got. The head, I just couldn't sew the head on very well because it had me close it up to 6, and I think the body closed up to 6, and I just couldn't get the head on really good. I think it looks like a mix between an Eevee from Pokemon and Grogu from The Mandalorian. I'm not exactly sure, again, why the arms were so stubby, why the legs were so stubby. It gave me a stubby tail. The ears were just weird. And I think, I can't remember if it told me where to put the eyes. It did not tell me where to put the legs or the arms. And that is Gemini's version of what it should look like. And this is what their idolized version of what it should look like. Okay, so that's it looks like it's wearing a diaper. It looks like it's wearing a diaper. So the final entry into our challenge here is ChatGPT. And I believe ChatGPT probably is the gold standard of, or at least for me, it's the gold standard for AI. I will confess to this that I do subscribe to ChatGPT Plus. I have had it do visual patterns and translate it into written patterns. So I don't know if it has that helped it have some knowledge for crochet patterns, but all of them were well written. They were well written, well formatted. They looked really nice. It was in the execution of the pattern itself, I think, is where they failed, obviously, looking at what they created. So this is ChatGPT's version. And again, I was saying that my version, my paid version does have some knowledge of crochet because I've used some things in it. So I don't know if that's what helped it, but as you can see, for me, this is the clear winner. It still doesn't look like its image, this is what it was supposed to look like. But it's the only one that had a flat bottom. It had me do a bottom and then do back loop only. You can see it has a ridge here. It still also looks like it's wearing a diaper. It's the only one that I could differentiate between the legs and the front legs and the back legs. The back legs here were a lot larger than the front legs. It's the only one that did the white tips. None of them did the pink. I asked them to do the toe beans. None of them did that. It's the only one to give me a muzzle on the dog. And I think the ears are quite a lot better than the other two. They're more triangular than the other two. The other one, like I said, looked like an Eevee, and the first one I thought looked like a teddy bear. So the ears were much better. The I was able to get the head better too. Sew it together because it didn't. I don't think it closed it as far as that other one did. It did tell me where to put the safety eyes and how many stitches between them. So it did have that going for it. But again, it still looks nothing like what it was supposed to. So I think the ChatGPT is the clear winner. So that, and knowing that it had some knowledge of crochet from some of the things I've had it do, it makes me wonder if the other two could be trained to create a better pattern. I know on ChatGPT you can set up private or specific GPTs to just make to just learn about a certain subject. So I was wondering, that was one of the things I was thinking about doing for a future video, if I could train the ChatGPT to make it look more like either the image that it created or what I was envisioning when I asked it to make it. The other question I have is, could I personally take one of these and improve upon them? Because I see with both of these things that I would do differently. Obviously, the first one would be to give it a muzzle, because I think that's going to make a huge difference in it looking more like a dog. For this one, I would definitely do try a no-sew head on this one. This one, the head is bigger than the body, so the body needs to be reworked. So what I was thinking was, between these two, I was saying take the worst one, which I deem this one the worst. If you think it's, I would love to know what thoughts are. Of the three, I would rank that one as the best, this one as the worst, and this one as meh. But what I would like to do with this one, since it's the worst of them, to see if I could modify it to make it look better. And then take this one and train the Google Gemini to see if it could write a better pattern and give it some assistance by telling it it needs to have a muzzle, the legs need to be a little bit bigger, then it needs to tell me where to place the legs on the body, perhaps do no sew like Craig here, that it's more floppy like that. I have the legs more like that. To give it some more, and then give it some patterns to try to emulate and see if it could do that. So that's where I want to take this right now. So I'm thinking a future video will be how I would fix this one, how I would fix both of them versus how the AI programs, after I train them a little bit, decides to fix them. I think that would be an interesting future video. So if you are interested in that, please leave a comment below. Tell me what you think. Tell me which one you think is the best, the worst, and the one that you would try to fix based on everything. And subscribe to see what eventually happens with the 3 AI generated patterns that we made. So I would love if you would subscribe and stay tuned to see what will happen to these 3 corgis that AI generated patterns for.